During this period of increasing turbulence here on Earth, there are few concepts more important to understand during a spiritual awakening than the topic of entropy. So today I will be going over what entropy is, why it's important for people going through a spiritual awakening to understand, and at the end I will explain the main issue we face as a collective regarding entropy. Entropy is a term mainly used in thermodynamics to measure how energy is distributed within a system. Because it measures how spread out energy is, it has become synonymous with measuring the amount of disorder held within a system. And disorder is a property of chaos. That's why this even matters to the spiritual community in the first place, because it's regarding the forces of creation, chaos and order. And with high amounts of disorder within a system, the elevated complexity trends toward devolving. From order, we experience harmony, truth, and freedom. Order is known as the virtue beauty for its alignment with the higher order of the cosmos. From chaos, we experience upheaval, mystery, and destruction. Chaos and order, these two states, not unlike our own lungs, are the contraction and expansion mechanism the universe uses to breathe. Through chaos, anything can be created, either for better or for worse. Chaos is dynamic, nonlinear, volatile energy that restructures. It can be used as a means to either propel or repel, and indeed we see it doing both at this moment in time. Like all good medicines, chaos can be a potent healer or a dangerous poison, depending on its purpose. Chaos can be used to create anything, but you cannot create anything without chaos. It is the unstabilizing variable necessary for altering a structure. Chaos in and of itself is not negative. What determines its purpose is how this force is welded. So the entropy, or disorder within a system, is not inherently negative, since the complexity that disorder generates can lead to evolution. Now, if we regard the concept most commonly referred to as God as an energy field rather than a personified sky daddy, this field of consciousness would be a generator, operator, and destroyer of energy. The field constantly creates and modifies as a part of its ongoing evolution. The trinity of generator, operator, destroyer is echoed throughout this entire universe. One of its most well-known personifications is as the Hindu trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Yet the theme of there being three aspects to existence is reflected not only in religion, but in theosophy, mysticism, and in nature as well. So entropy generates a lot of disorder. However, the most important thing to understand when regarding entropy is whether it's measuring an open system or a closed system. Humans are an open system, meaning we are not isolated. We exchange information and energy with our environment. We are designed to do so. So when I'm speaking about entropy, the system I'm referring to is the collective consciousness of humanity. So entropy affects us differently than it would a closed system. For instance, entropy can act as a powerful agent for neuroplasticity by restructuring the synapses in the brain to create optimal connections, making high levels of entropy in the brain actually a signature of intelligence and higher consciousness for its greater ability to receive, process, and synthesize information. In other words, in an open system, entropy creates more plasticity. In fact, in an open system, entropy increases order biologically while decreasing order energetically. Which begs the question, what is order? I mentioned order is harmony, truth, and freedom, but what does that even mean? For a system, in this case the collective, to have harmony, truth, and freedom, that would mean they are coherent. Order is coherency. I define coherency as unifying and conscious, which sounds an awful lot like unity consciousness. So order would be a system of conscious beings. For there to be true order, there needs to be conscious individuals. This is individuals who are capable of striving for truth in all areas of their life, striving to know truth and be willing to always align with truth to the best of their capacity, despite their prior belief systems. The second aspect of order. You cannot have order and be in a coherent system without freedom. And I'm not talking about freedom to obey masters or blindly trust officials and pretend we're woke. I'm talking about spiritual sovereignty. If you live in a system that has control over what you can and cannot do, that tells you what to do, that invokes penalty and force to save you from yourself, that's not freedom, baby. That's a slow disco to enslavement. And there will never come a time when the universe recognizes that as order. The universe will never consider individuals' free will being revoked as coherent. You wouldn't even want it to. The moment a person starts to resonate with the concept that having masters is good, they have fed chaos by devolving their free will, and therefore are attracting powerful and harsh lessons about true order and love. Side note, if you'd like to do some shadow work around this one, notice where in your life you do this same thing to others where you try to control them. So what's really important to understand during a spiritual awakening is what love truly is, because love is being sorely misrepresented. Love is consciousness. Because love is consciousness, love will never come in the form of denial. Denial is the opposite of consciousness. It is a rejection of what is. Usurp and control will never come in their true form. That's not how manipulation works. Everyone would immediately unite to combat humanity's shared threat, and in coming together, they would recognize themselves as the other. And that's way too high vibes. No, no, no. To conquer a world, you need to divide a world. And guess what division is? Entropy! Everything that is being done to control humanity is being done in the name of love. Know this deeply, because love and order are being heavily imitated right now. No one is going to just point blank tell humanity, we want to enslave you, your trauma is nourishing. They would need to dress up their intentions as love and as order. So let me break this down. In thermodynamics, entropy is how dispersed the energy within that system is. But in spirituality, entropy is the fragmentation of a being's consciousness. In occult terms, entropy is chaos. And in layman's terms, entropy is spreading yourself too thin. The units within this system, i.e. us, are either striving for inner coherency, aka order, by consolidating their dissonance, or by default, their consciousness is fragmenting into chaos. And although that's not the only version of entropy, that's the one the conscious community is referring to when they're talking about entropy. Since humanity is an open system and entropy operates differently in an open system, energy is dispersed and exchanged with our environment, which produces flexibility, which leads to evolution. So even though entropy causes deterioration through the dispersal of energy, it is also a catalyst for even more coherency through its expansion. Now here's where things get dark. Remember how I said that part about entropy operating differently in closed systems earlier? Well, when an open system such as humans begin to entrain and adopt a reality that is cut off from one another and from reality at large, like we see with virtual reality, or isolation, which we've experienced a lot of, energetically, that's actually turning us into a closed system. And entropy functions differently in a closed system. Point blank, entropy in a closed system leads to decay, making it a pathway to devolving. And this will be a very large theme as the shadow side of the age of Aquarius. Simulated realities are being presented as groundbreaking and revolutionary, but what they have is quite a different itinerary behind them. If you'd like to know more about this, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video on this topic. Simulated universes proceed into vanilla sky kind of timelines that distort organic consciousness, enough for it to diverge into a state of soul loss. There are ascending timelines and descending timelines. Simulated realities are descending timelines as they generate a lot of entropy by fragmenting our consciousness from reality. And guess who's feeding off of that energy you're dispersing? Our consciousness becomes calcified when we are not connected to our organic environment. living in reality, and connecting with others, exchanging information with our environment. So in the age ahead, entropy leads to soul atrophy. And you can't have a very powerful connection with your higher self or with the universal force of love if you are feeding its opposite, which is denial. Individuals who are consolidating their internal dissonance are creating internal unity. This is what we know as healing. Healing generates coherency, which creates order. Likewise, cognitive dissonance generates fragmentation, which leads to internal division. So you have the force of love and freedom, which creates internal unity. When you have internal unity, you will have external freedom. You will have that projection outwardly. When you have internal division, you are going to have an external projection of that chaos. And in between the forces of love and denial, order and chaos, unity and entropy, our lives are the lungs that creation uses to contract and expand. I hope this has helped make your journey more coherent. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for higher dimensional guidance through spiritual awakenings. See you next time.